Okay, so we have a whole bunch of stuff to cover. I'm going to throw this to you, Eric Holmes. Hidden Letters, Christmas, Bloody Christmas, or Return to Seoul. What do you feel like covering first?
Ooh, let's go with, it's a Christmas season. Let's just start off with a Christmas movie. Christmas, Bloody Christmas.
Okay, Christmas, Bloody Christmas, very simple. It centers on this really wonderful coworkers. I guess they're coworkers in, what is it, a used vinyl or used DVD record store. And actually the woman played by Riley Dandy, I believe she's either the owner or the manager or basically the boss of the place. They work in a small town. It's, I believe, maybe Christmas Eve, and she wants to actually down some shots, and she's actually going to hook up with some guy I think she met on Tinder, et cetera, et cetera. But what happens is she ends up spending a big part of the night with her coworker, really close friend. Okay. And he's played by Sam Delich. And for a big part of the movie, Riley Dandy and Sam Delich, they have sort of a, I don't know, how do you call it? Meet cute, really interesting repartee. So the first maybe 40%, 35 to 40% of this movie is them just bantering back and forth, drinking shots, visiting their friends, talking about, I don't know, maybe heavy metal music they love or movies they dig. So it's sort of like High Fidelity, the first 35 to 40 minutes. But then this is not called High Fidelity part two. This is called Christmas, Bloody Christmas. There is a Santa Claus, a robotic Santa Claus from a nearby toy store that, quote unquote, goes haywire. And yes, this robotic Santa does not give little kids presents. In fact, he does some really bad things, or it really does bad things. This is a Christmas, Bloody Christmas season. This robotic Santa is out for blood, just to kill. Very simple plot. Robotic Santa is trying to kill pretty much everyone in this small, snowy town. It's written and directed by Joe Begos. Eric Holmes, do you know who Joe Begos is, or will you know who he is a little bit better? Can you tell our listeners why you might know him better than me or Bruce pretty soon?
Yeah. So we got the thing for Christmas, Bloody Christmas, and I was like, oh, this will probably be a Christmas horror movie. And then I looked up who he was, and he was the director of VFW. I almost said VHS, VFW, which by the way has one of the greatest introductions to any character with Will Sadler at the beginning of VFW. Where the truck just pulls up, the two guys are driving the truck, and all of a sudden Will Sadler just like pops up from the bed of the truck. Like, you've been in there the whole time, goddamn. All right, but anyway, so once I saw it was the guy from VFW, I got real excited about it. And Christmas, Bloody Christmas is kind of like a Christmas Terminator, holiday cheer over metal endoskeleton. It was it's got some good blood, got some, the dialogue gets a little too hipster, but you mentioned the high fidelity. So if you're into like high fidelity, you'll kind of know how the characters interact in this. One of the things I really liked about it, there was a scene in a bar when they're just kind of winding down for the night before the carnage really starts. And there's some metal music playing on in the background of the bar. I'm like, oh God, that sounds familiar. What is that? And I looked it up, and it's ISIS. So any filmmaker that can put a band like ISIS in their soundtrack automatically gets a thumbs up from me. And it just kept getting bloodier and better and more exciting as it went on.
How do you spell that band? ISIS as in ISIS?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's a real band. Yeah. Are they good?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw them a long time ago with it was at the Cog Factory. I think it was Dillinger Escape Plan, Candaria, Darkest Hour, and ISIS. That was a cool show, and that was the first and only time I got to see them live. But they're a pretty awesome band, so I was pretty excited to see them on the soundtrack. It's a little bit of the movie, but that part stood out to me. When the violence gets going, though, it gets going. What was that movie we saw? It was a couple months ago. The good Resident Evil movie that's not a Resident Evil movie. The Project Wolf Hunting.
Oh, either that or it was called Lunana Yak in the Classroom. I forgot which movie.
It wasn't quite as bloody as Lunana Yak in the Classroom.
Project Wolf Hunting, yes. Wolf Hunting, yes.
Christmas, Bloody Christmas wasn't quite as bloody as Project Wolf Hunting, but it had some really good gore effects and a lot of mayhem going on. And I mean, Terminator Santa Claus. I mean, what's not to love about that?
Were you actually waiting for the carnage? Did you wish the carnage actually ramped up sooner, or did you think that preamble with the whole meet cute or just talk cute between Tori, played by Riley Dandy, and Robbie Reynolds, played by Sam Delich, that actor, do you wish there was less of that kind of banter and they just
No,
moved right into the action, or you were cool
no,
with it?
no. I mean, it was definitely hipster dialogue, but it's hipster dialogue. I was kind of rolling with. I liked watching the characters interact with each other. And in fact, there's with movies like this, typically the kills will happen while people are having sex a lot of times. And that was Family Channel. When people are making love, when
Yeah, coitus,
two people that love
coitus.
each other come together.
We only say coitus on the show.
Yes,
Coitus.
when the people are having coitus, and then the robot, the Terminator Santa goes after them, it's like, oh, can't let them finish. I mean,
Yeah,
it's Christmas. Come on. But no, I like the characters a lot. I like their interactions, and so as fun and bloody as it was also there's a few characters that, like, when they're in peril, I'm kind of like, oh no, not them, not them. But then there's other characters that are just like, so like, just don't know what time it is, or so boneheaded, or not listening. And then so when they get it, it's like, I kind of had it coming, dude. You should just been listening. But yeah, this is a good Christmas movie. And it's a good horror movie. It's good thriller. Actually, it's got some really good action in it too. Yeah, this has everything.
Before we get to Bruce, Eric, you're going to interview Joe Begos tomorrow. Tomorrow being Thursday. What are some? Can you give a preview? What do you get to ask him throughout the cheat sheet? What's a big question you're going to ask him? Do you have something in your bag?
Probably gonna ask him what his favorite ISIS record is.
Excellent
just
question.
Talk about ISIS all the time.
I'm cool with that. That sounds good to me. That's a great different interview. Okay, so all right. Remember, Joe Begos will be interviewed by Eric Holmes over here at the CinemAddicts podcast, and I'll be posting it up this weekend. Bruce Purkey, Christmas, Brucey Christmas. What do you think? I think the world of Christmas, Brucey Christmas. But what do you think of Christmas, Bloody Christmas?
I like this quite a bit. I'm in a very similar boat to Eric on this one. So first of all, I didn't notice that this was the case, but Adam Murphy does this. I forget what he calls it, but where he'll screen things online that are unavailable to be found anywhere. Streaming. He mentioned that this movie was filmed in Placerville, California, which I did not know, which is a place I used to live when I was very little. So that alone made it interesting to me. But yeah, I love the kind of combo of basic kind of slasher movie in a lot of ways, and the Santa robot thing, and having it be this kind of this janky practical effects throughout. I mean, they aren't going to blow you away, but I would so much rather see these kind of effects, and just to see the once again, we talked about Deadstream earlier this year having those kind of effects, and Evil Dead, of course, has those kind of effects, and I think it just makes it so much more fun. Plus, the movie looks really good
it's shot on film.
Yeah, it looks great, and they just play up the Christmas colors to the hilt. I mean, everything is illuminated with green and red and lights and black lights, and just, between that and metal and everything that's going on in this, it's really, really fun. Also, like Eric says, once the brutality begins, like, no one is safe. And I like that in a movie too, because these kind of movies usually can kind of go like, okay, well, this is the person who's going to make it. I mean, who's going to be the final girl. I'm assuming a final girl in this, but there's some other people you think might survive too, or survive longer, that don't, and they aren't afraid to make the stakes high, which also makes this kind of movie fun, because you're not ever sure who you can exactly attach yourself to and assume they're going to still be around. So all of that was totally fun. Oh, and one last thing. I really appreciated this. I'm not going to get into the ending, but let's just say there is a trope, a big giant trope that everyone knows in slasher movies, where you attack whatever the slasher is, Michael Myers or whoever it is, you attack them with a weapon. They fall down to supposedly they're, quote, dead. You drop the weapon and you walk away. And of course, they pop back up. That trope is played with to great effect in this movie. To great effect. It's almost a whole act of the movie. So yeah, I think this, for horror fans, this is a no-brainer. For Christmas horror fans, super no-brainer. And even if you're not a big horror fan, but you're a little adventurous, I think this is not gonna, disturb you. Well, I guess unless you're really into Santa.
Look, Christmas, Bloody Christmas, a big saleability factor or marketability, whatever that is, whatever that word is, it's very rewatchable. It's one of those movies. If you don't watch it this Christmas, you might tell your fellow cinephiles, oh, I have a great Christmas movie for you to watch. And it might not be A Christmas Story, or it might not be Die Hard. let's go watch Christmas Bloody Christmas. This is one of those movies that if you watch time and time again, it doesn't get old. It's surprisingly, like to your point, Bruce, uncompromising in the way it deals with its characters. It's a Santa that's a robot that kills. So we know where that's going to lead to a lot of the people in the town. So I really enjoyed that. And there are some shocking moments. There's that one big shocking moment. And I said, no, this is not going to happen. This will not happen. That just happened. Oh my gosh, right? And then there was another thing that I had, well, you can't do that in film. You will not do that in film. They're going to cut around to that. Nope, that just happened too. So I was really pleasantly surprised by how many really interesting narrative taboos that it breaks. And I really loved Christmas Bloody Christmas. I highly recommend it. It's an elevated genre picture. I'm a sucker for movies that are shot in film, really genrefied piece. Oh, also Riley Dandy as the lead in this movie. She's excellent. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a home run. I said this during, I'm going to actually post this interview as well on our CinemAddicts feed. I told her this is just a home run of a role, and she really knocks it out of the park, and she's fantastic. Wouldn't be surprised if she gets more type of roles along this genre and maybe even different other roles from this. It's a very showy performance, but in the context of what this movie is about, it's a perfect fit. And let's also give some props to Sam Delich as Robbie Reynolds, her counterpart in this movie as well. He does some really good work too. Just overall, high marks for me. 4.5 out of 5 for Christmas Bloody Christmas. Eric Holmes, your rating?
Yeah, this is my third favorite Terminator movie. So I got to go 4.5 on this one.
4.5 from Eric Holmes' third favorite Terminator movie. We love. Oh, it's very interesting. I wanted to know what you like. I'm thinking you might like what Terminator. What is it? Dark Fate is your number one. What is that? Terminator.
So I like the first one, then the second one, then Christmas Bloody Christmas, then Terminator 3, and then Dark Fate, and then actually Terminator Salvation is not terrible.
Yeah,
but
there.
Yeah. Hey, if they want to make another Terminator movie, get this guy. He's cracked the code.
He's cracked the code.
Put a Santa hat on Arnold Schwarzenegger and go to town.
Maybe ask Joe Begos if he's up for directing the next installment of the Terminator. Maybe that might be a question. Who knows, right? Anyways, Bruce Purkey, your rating on Christmas Bloody Christmas?
My rating is 4.5 as well. And I have a question if you want to ask him. I did not notice Merciful Fate's song "No Presents for Christmas" in this, and you might ask him if he considered that song. Or maybe I missed it, and I'll be embarrassed if that's the case. And so everyone out there,
I'm always embarrassed, by the way. Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't there losing their minds? Tim Curry was in Hunt for Red October. That was the submarine movie I was thinking of. And Muppet Treasure Island.
Muppet Treasure Island. Excellent. Again, that is Christmas Bloody Christmas. I believe the release date is, I have to actually pull it up here right now. I think it's Friday, December 9th on Shudder, I believe, for Christmas Bloody Christmas.